Wow, did I miss it? And I mean, I missed it big time. Hello, everyone. I'm Dwayne Matz. Welcome to today's Living Word. In the book of Job, chapter 42, looking at verse 7, and so it was after the Lord had spoken these words to Job that the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, "My wrath is aroused against you and your two friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has." That's Job 42:7. Man, I'm so embarrassed by this. I missed it so big. I don't know how many times I have casually read the book of Job and missed this very important detail. Thankfully, I didn't miss it this time, thanks to the Holy Spirit who brought it to my attention. And the thing is, what are you talking about, dude, man? What did you miss here? I missed Elihu. Where is Elihu in this verse? God was upset with Eliphaz and his two friends, Bildad and Zophar, but there's no mention of Elihu. God was not upset with Elihu. Elihu must have spoken right things about God. And this is where, quite frankly, I'm really embarrassed, because I did not pay attention to the sudden arrival of Elihu in this manuscript in the first place. I had just always kind of lumped him in with Job's other friends, never taking a nose count or a name count. But this Elihu character, he was different, very different. And when he spoke, I just assumed he was one of the three originals who came to comfort Job. I mean, I never really paid attention to his name. I never ran a background check on him. I was so caught up in the story and examining the faulty conclusions of the others that I missed all these right conclusions of Elihu. Where did he come from? When did he join the conversation? Was he a tag-along that was just considered too young to garner a mention in Job chapter 2? You know, we really aren't told. But we can assume that he heard every single thing Job and his friends spoke, because he responded to all of them. What bugs me most about my overlooking of this fifth character in the story of Job is I never really paid attention to when he arrived in the first place and joined the conversation. There's some interesting notes in several commentaries that I have read concerning Elihu. For one thing, he's introduced in chapter 32, right after the words of Job had ended. And one of the last things that Job asked for in his speech was, quote, "Oh, that the Almighty would answer me." And before the Almighty answered him, in chapter 38, he brings Elihu into the picture. And Elihu boldly stated in Job 33:6, "Truly, I am your spokesman before God. I also have been formed out of clay." Wow, Elihu, a flesh and blood mediator for Job, just as Christ is a God incarnate, flesh and blood mediator for you and I. In Job 33:23 through 26, Elihu speaks prophetically about Jesus. I just want you to note some of the words that he uses that should cause you and I to think about Jesus and God's plan of salvation. He says beginning at verse 23, "If there was a messenger for him, a mediator, one among 1,000, to show man his uprightness, then he is gracious to him," and says, "Deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh shall be young like a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray to God, and he will delight in him. He shall see his face with joy, for he restores to man his righteousness." I mean, come on. My journaling Bible has these headings for Elihu's speech. Chapter 33, Elihu contradicts, that is, he straightens out Job. Chapter 34, Elihu proclaims God's justice. Chapter 35, Elihu condemns self-righteousness. Chapter 36, Elihu proclaims God's goodness. Chapter 36:24 through 37:24, Elihu proclaims God's majesty. I mean, whoever Elihu is meant to be, he certainly had all these things right. And I missed it. No wonder there's no word of condemnation for him from God. Well, I've added a new note to my journaling Bible today. I put it at chapter 33 through 37, and the note simply states, Elihu got it right. I don't have to guess about it anymore. Elihu got it right. There was no condemnation from God against Elihu. Now, was Elihu meant to be a type of Christ? You know what? That's probably farther than this amateur should go. But he certainly spoke a lot of truth, and what he spoke about God was right on. May we too learn to guide others by speaking the truth in love. May we proclaim the justice of God. May we condemn self-righteousness, and may we ever proclaim God's goodness and his majesty. And me, I better be more careful when I'm reading this book of Job. I'm Dwayne Matz. Thanks for listening to today's Living Word.